Sir, I'm going to ask you again. This area is for registered guests only. I need you to exit the property.
I'm a registered guest. Been here since yesterday afternoon. Room 508. I don't know why you keep coming at me like this.
If that's the case, you can show me your key and we can clear it up outside.
Outside? I'm not stepping out like I did something. Here's the key. You see it? Hey, name's on the sleeve.
He was a paying guest, a registered name in the system. A black man staying inside a luxury hotel he had every right to be in. But that didn't stop security from walking straight toward him. Didn't stop the assumption, didn't stop the order. You need to leave now. The accusation was simple. He didn't belong. What followed wasn't just humiliation. It was a public confrontation inside a hotel lobby designed to feel private. A moment caught between polished marble floors and quiet privilege, and the fallout. It would ripple far beyond that lobby. Before we continue, what city are you watching from? If this is your first time listening, support the channel by liking and subscribing. Stories like this need to be heard, and with your help, we can make sure these events don't go unheard. Because this wasn't about a room key, it was about who is allowed to exist in certain spaces and who is always questioned. He didn't sneak in, he checked in, front desk, credit card, confirmation email, room assignment, a mid-30s professional, calm, well-dressed, soft-spoken, the kind of guest hotels claim to want. He was in town for business, meetings scheduled, deadlines looming. The hotel was chosen for convenience, close to downtown, reputable, expensive enough to promise peace. He wore no hoodie, no disguise, no reason to stand out, except one, his skin. And inside certain spaces, that alone is enough to make people uneasy. He moved through the lobby with the casual confidence of someone who belonged there, because he did, until security decided otherwise. Luxury hotels sell a fantasy. Soft lighting, muted colors, music low enough to disappear. They are designed to calm you, to make money feel invisible, to make power feel polite. But behind that calm is surveillance, security cameras tucked into corners, guards trained not just to protect, but to assess. Who looks like they belong, who doesn't. That morning, the lobby was quiet, a few guests checking out, staff gliding between stations, and then the eyes locked in. Security noticed him standing near the seating area, waiting, checking his phone and not causing trouble, not speaking loudly, just existing. And that was enough. 2 security guards, dark uniforms, earpieces in. They didn't ask how his stay was. They didn't ask his room number. They didn't assume he was a guest. They assumed the opposite. Sir, we're going to need you to leave the property. No explanation, no apology, just an instruction. He looked up, surprised but composed. I'm staying here, he said. Simple, logical, true. The guards didn't accept it. We've had reports, one said vaguely. Guests are uncomfortable. Uncomfortable with what? He asked calmly. What's the issue? The answer never came. Because the issue wasn't behavior, it was perception. He reached for his wallet. I can show you my room key, he offered. This should have ended everything. It didn't. The guards hesitated, then dismissed it. We need you to step outside while we sort this out. Outside, public, exposed, removed. That's how these moments escalate. Not with shouting, not with violence, but with displacement. He refused politely. No, I'm a guest. I paid to be here. That was the moment the tone shifted. Voices hardened. Postures changed. One guard placed a hand near his radio, authority flexing. Other guests began to notice. Heads turned. Conversations paused. The room changed temperature. Security stood closer now, too close. This isn't up for debate, one guard said. That sentence carries weight. It means your truth doesn't matter. Only ours does. He asked for a manager. Security refused. He asked why he was being targeted. Silence, because the answer would have been too honest. This is how systems work. They don't scream bias, they imply it. They make you prove yourself repeatedly. They force you to justify your presence. And even when you comply, they move the goalposts. He showed his room key. They questioned it. He offered ID. They waved it away. Nothing he did could override the original assumption that he didn't belong, that he was a risk, that he needed to go. And then, footsteps, measured, confident. Someone important had entered the scene. The hotel owner wasn't supposed to be there, but that morning, he was. He had noticed the tension from across the lobby, noticed the body language, the standoff. He approached quietly. What's going on? He asked. Security spoke first. "This individual is refusing to leave." The owner turned to the man. "Sir, are you a guest?" "Yes," he replied, calm, unshaken. The owner didn't argue, he didn't assume, he asked one question. "What's your room number?" The man answered. The owner nodded and then turned sharply to security. "I know that guest." Pause, silence. The air shifted. The owner explained. That man wasn't just a guest. He was a long-term client, a repeat customer, someone who had stayed there many times before, someone who spent tens of thousands of dollars at that property. Security froze. The posture collapsed. Suddenly there were apologies. Suddenly there was confusion. Suddenly everyone understood they had made a mistake. But mistakes don't happen in a vacuum, they follow patterns. And this one was painfully familiar. Guests had recorded, phones had come out quietly, instinctively. Video of the confrontation, audio of the demands. It didn't take long to surface online, and when it did, people saw exactly what the man had experienced. The calm, the restraint, the disbelief, and the security guards. Confident, dismissive, unyielding, until they weren't. The internet did what it always does. It watched, it replayed, it judged. The hotel released a statement, carefully worded, vague, an unfortunate misunderstanding. Security was retrained. An internal review launched, but the damage was already done because this wasn't an isolated incident. It was a reflection of who is questioned first, who must prove themselves, who is always one assumption away from removal, and people wanted accountability, not apologies. By the afternoon, the story had spread, not because the hotel wanted it to, because people recognized it. A black man, a luxury space, security deciding he didn't belong. It felt familiar. The hotel's corporate office issued another statement, longer this time. "We take these matters seriously. We are committed to inclusivity. We regret the experience." Carefully sanitized language. No names, no admission of bias, no acknowledgement of why this man, ye and not others, had been targeted. And the man, he wasn't interested in apologies, because apologies don't undo humiliation. They don't erase the moment where dozens of strangers watched you be questioned like a criminal for standing still. Behind closed doors, the tone changed. Executives, legal teams, risk management. This was no longer about a misunderstanding. This was about liability, because the video didn't lie. It showed compliance being ignored. It showed authority escalating without cause. It showed a system comfortable, embarrassing a black guest in public. The man was invited to a meeting, not to apologize again, to negotiate. Civil rights attorneys reviewed the footage. They saw violations, discrimination based on race, denial of services, public humiliation under false pretenses. The numbers came quickly. 6 figures, then more. Settlement discussions included mandatory policy changes, implicit bias training, clearer protocols for guest verification, but none of it addressed the core truth that this only happened because someone looked at him and decided he didn't fit the image of a guest. The guards were removed from duty, quietly. No press release, no public accountability. One was reassigned, another left the company. That's how institutions absorb blame. They isolate it, they minimize it. They ensure the structure stays intact. Because if this is framed as a bad apple, no one has to question the orchard. Hotels aren't just buildings, they're symbols of access, of status, of who gets comfort and who gets scrutiny. When a black man is questioned in a hotel lobby, it's not random, it's part of a larger story. Retail stores, airports, gyms, apartment buildings, spaces where black presence is treated as conditional, where belonging must be proven. Again and again, no one writes it down, but everyone enforces it. If you look a certain way, you're invisible. If you don't, you're suspicious. The man followed every rule, paid, checked in, complied, and still it wasn't enough. So the question becomes unavoidable. What would have been enough? Privately, the owner admitted something uncomfortable. He had trusted his security team completely. He had never questioned how they identified threats until that morning, until he watched a loyal guest be cornered in his own lobby. It forced a reckoning, not just about policy, but about assumptions. The news cycle moved on, another story replaced it. But for the man, the moment lingered. Every hotel lobby after that felt different. Every security glance heavier. That's the part rarely discussed. The psychological tax, the way dignity is eroded quietly, one incident at a time. If the owner hadn't been there, if no one had recorded, if the moment stayed private, would anyone have believed him? Or would this have been dismissed as confusion, a misunderstanding, a feeling? This wasn't an anomaly. It was a data point. One more example of how authority is applied unevenly, how Black professionalism doesn't guarantee protection, how money doesn't always buy belonging, and how quickly access can be revoked without explanation. It started with a simple demand. You need to leave, not because of what he did, but because of who someone thought he was. The owner stepped in. The truth came out. Consequences followed. But the system that allowed it, still standing, still operating, still deciding, silently, who belongs and who must explain themselves. So here's the question that lingers. If a paying guest in a luxury hotel can be treated like an intruder, what does belonging actually mean in America? And who gets to decide? If this story made you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is the point. Drop your thoughts in the comments, share this story, and make sure you're subscribed, because stories like this only change things when they're seen.